Hello, it's Math O'Clock again. Here we are back at our lesson place where we're learning about subtracting, where we're learning about taking numbers away that might need you to do something else to it. And the summary, which I will tell you in a moment, from last lesson talks about just that. So when we don't have enough on top to take from, we need to what? Break apart. So we learned that a few units ago when we were doing two-digit subtraction, but now we're doing numbers that are bigger than 2 digits. So we're talking about borrowing from a different place value. And if you remember, we just had a whole big unit on place value right before the coronavirus, COVID-19, made us all go home and stay home. Miss you guys. So we had all that place value talk where we talked about the ones place, we talked about the tens place. Now we're going to use everything we learned about place value for subtraction. So you just finished that whole unit on adding numbers up to 1,000. Now we're doing subtraction up to 1,000, within 1,000 really. So our last problem was 126 minus 54, right? And we saw that when we break it all up into our place value, right? We use our place value chart. You got your hundreds and your tens and your ones. Now, what if you don't have enough, right? You have to break apart. So, you have enough in the ones place with 126. 6 minus 4, you know that, that's 2, right? But you don't have enough in your tens place. You have 2 in your tens place and 5 in your tens place. And interestingly, we talked a lot about place value, right? So this actually is 100 and 2 tens. And another way we could say that would be 12 tens. So right now you already have 12 tens that you could take 5 tens away from. But we're going to see what this little bear is doing over here. And we're going to notice that he is taking 100 and taking it over here and into the tens place so that now you have 12 in that column. So it looks like this. You move that over into your tens column. Now you have your 12 tens, right? Which is the same way as putting it here, but now it's all in your tens column. You take that 5 away, and you're left over with 7. So what I want you to write in this little summary section is this. Or if you have a better version of it, feel free. But I wrote this out, and I think that it makes pretty good sense. But if you have a better way of understanding the concept that we just talked about, you go right ahead and make it make sense for you. So if we don't have enough tens to subtract from, we can break apart 100 from the hundreds place. So you just take one of those hundreds. In this case, 126 minus 54, you only have 100 to take away. Now, we'll get into bigger numbers later, but for now, I want you to make sure you have this or something that makes sense to you as your summary written down on page 128 in your lesson book. Okay? 128 in your lesson book. You can pause if you'd like, and then I will tell you what else we need to do. All right, our next problem that we're going to talk about is 127 minus 34. So you can open up your lesson book, put your finger right there on that problem. I want you to pause and try, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. All right. So when we are doing subtraction, do we start from the left or do we start from the right? For reading, we read left to right. For math, we go right to left. So we start with our ones column just in case. Now in this case, we're fine because we can take 4 away from 7, right? Because I know you're practicing your fact families with your families and your fact fluency, playing Top It and doing lots and lots of flashcards, right? And if you're not, do it. You got to get fast at it, really, really fast. So 7 minus 4 is, don't tell me, wait, okay. 3. Okay, then 3 minus 2 is 1, and then we go. Okay, is that right? Did I do it right? I didn't. No. Why? Because you can't just reverse if you feel like it was subtraction. That's the commutative property. Say commutative property. It's only for addition and multiplication when you're in 3rd grade. We'll do a little bit of multiplication hopefully at the end of the year. But you can go either way, up and down, back and forth with addition and multiplication, but not with subtraction. So Miss Moshon's going to have to rewrite her problem over here. Oh my gosh. 127 minus 34. 7 minus 4 is 3. And then what do I need to do? I need to break it apart. I need to take this 100. How many tens are in 100? 10. 10 tens in 100, right? So if you had 100, you're talking about 10 tens. If you had 120, that would be 12 tens, right? Don't forget all that tricky language that goes along with the place value unit that we did before. Be careful. Okay, so you have 2 in your tens place, 3 in your tens place. You can't take 3 away from 2, so you're going to cross out your 100, cross out your 10. You're adding 10 tens to 2 tens, which gives you 12 tens. Can you take 3 away from 12? You better be able to. You better be practicing. 12, you can count back 3 times if you're not sure. 12, 11, 10, 9. So there I counted back because it was a smaller number, right? If it was a bigger number, then I would maybe count up. Like if it was 12 minus 9, I would start at 9 and I would go 9, 10, 11, 12. And I would see that I counted up 3 times. But in this case, 12 minus 3 is 9. 93. I love fact families. This is a crazy fact family, but it's still a fact family because if I want to check it, I'm going to add these 2 numbers together and make sure that they are the same as what I started with. You remember your fact families, guys? You can always do it. Put a little plus sign in the middle, a comma, and a subtraction sign. It's so small, I'm sorry. You put your big number up top, 127, and you have 34 and 93. But before I do any of that, I better add these 2 together, make sure that this is a true fact family, right? I'm running out of board space. Let's do it up here. I'm going to put my 34 on top because it doesn't matter with addition, but it sure does with subtraction. I'm going to add those 2 numbers together. Does it matter if I go right to left or left to right? Yes, it does. Because what if I have a number that I need to carry a 10 over into my tens place? 4 plus 3 is 7. 9 plus 3, let me make sure, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, 127. Is that the same number I started with? You know it is. Now I want you to go and do all the rest of the problems on page 129, and we'll talk about it again soon. Bye, I miss you.